Welcome to the crossroads of the known and the unknown. This is AJ Parr's Spiritual Journalist Podcast.
Hello, we are here with Dr. Emma Bragdon. She has been researching spiritual emergency and Brazilian spiritists for many years now. Welcome, Dr. Emma Bragdon.
Hi, AJ. Thank you so much. In 2001, I was invited to go to Brazil. And at that time, I was teaching a 9-day course. And in fact, I was given the honor of teaching teachers. So I was there basically as a mentor. And a friend of mine who was paraplegic had said, would you check out more what's going on with spiritual healing in Brazil? So I won't go into the whole story here, but it was quite a journey. And it started with one of the most world famous spiritual healers in Brazil. But at that particular time, some of the people who worked with him, mediums in this case, came to me the very day that I was there the first time and said, oh, you're here to bring Spiritism to the English-speaking world. I'd never heard the word Spiritism. This was in 2001. And that night, we'll call it a synchronicity or an amazing coincidence, I was introduced to a woman who had she was the conference organizer for the International Transpersonal Conference in Sao Paulo. And she invited me to go and visit several Spiritist centers in Sao Paulo. And I started an amazing journey of being introduced to the leaders of Spiritism, both in the community centers, as well as in the Spiritist psychiatric hospitals. And because I'd never heard of this in my graduate school education, I thought, well, this must be a very, very small movement. But as I dug deeper in my research and study of it, I realized that 20 to 40 million Brazilians actually visit Spiritist centers to look at the spiritual side of whatever it was that was distressing them, meaning psychological or physical. So they might identify themselves as Catholic or Jewish or Hindu or whatever, but they would still visit a Spiritist center to look at and treat the spiritual aspect of whatever was distressing them. So that's a large number of people, 20 to 40 million Brazilians. And then I looked deeper into the Spiritist psychiatric hospitals and found that there were 50 of them in Brazil, but nowhere else in the world. They've actually been treating, I would say, over 100 years. So the first Spiritist psychiatric hospital that was really publishing about its work was in the 1930s. So that's about 90 years ago, but it was clearly going on before that when they had opened the hospital. They just weren't documenting it. So one of the things they felt was very important is that some people who may be like diamonds in the rough, in other words, think about a piece of coal that's in darkness, and then is this. If we consider that this is a person, metaphorically speaking, and this person is highly sensitive and may have the gift of being a medium or being an energy healer, but that doesn't quite fit into the culture that they were brought up in. And so they repress those particular abilities. They don't talk about them. They try to keep them undercover, as it were. But you know how it is with repression. Things pop up. Because they're still sitting there and they may have a lot of energy. So, and when this kind of activity that's lying in the subconscious or unconscious pops up, it can come out quite chaotically. Similarly to repressed anger, that can come out quite unpredictably and chaotically if we repress it and then it emerges. So in this case, thinking of, let's say, the person who is like a piece of coal and they've repressed their mediumship or abilities as a healer, and it pops up, it can be quite chaotic. And the way we refer to that might be a spiritual emergency, because a person doesn't want to have these abilities, feels that they might actually be an indicator of their being crazy or a lunatic. And so the spiritists actually will invite that kind of person in, just like they welcome people of all cultures, all faiths, all sexual orientation, and help that person to understand that they do have gifts, God-given gifts, and they would not only be able to explain to them what's going on, but also be able to give them training so that the person can be active as a medium or energy healer. And of course, mediumship can take many, many different forms. Channeling, for instance, predicting the future, being a medical intuitive. Still, after all these years of study, and it's been from 2001, so over 20 years of study, I'm still absolutely excited and passionate about what the Spiritists have developed, because it's not only about turning coal into diamonds, it's really about helping people evolve on a spiritual level and be able to go through some of the ups and downs that can occur in that journey. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to your audience, AJ. I've enjoyed being here today, and I hope to see you again sometime.
Stairway to Heaven, 25 near-death experiences about encounters with God, Jesus, and paradise. Journalistic research on real cases by AJ Parr. On sale now on Amazon.
I looked down, there's no body. There's no me, but I felt just like me. And my first thoughts was, wow, this must be heaven. The whole Bible, Jesus, God thing, it's really true. They have no idea this is real.
So there was quite a bunch of activity that they were doing during this time. And so, I know they were working on me really hard, but the whole time that I was gone, I went to heaven. So as far as what I was experiencing, it was wonderful, and I was able to see God and to see Jesus.
I turned and I said to this one leader character who had come and collected me, I said, "Who are you? Who are you exactly? You're not the same as these," because he was not the same as the other angels. And he seemed to be the one that was emanating this incredible love more than anyone else. And he just looked at me and said, "I am the one you call Lord." Now, for me, there's only one person in all of history that I call Lord, and that's Jesus. And, this was Jesus that I was sitting in front of. And that really did overwhelm me at that point.
I remember feeling all this light, seeing light all around me. And I was just like, when you're in a deep state of meditation, yes, when you go so deep that you don't see what's around you, you just become one with the light. So yes, that's what happened to me. I became one with the light.
At that point, I was turned upward, my spirit was, and I was aiming towards the sky. And I saw a beautiful, bright white, but it isn't a white that we can describe. So it's the brightest light you could imagine here on earth, but without being blinding.
I cannot die right now. Will you take me back? I have a lot to do right now. I said, no, you make a promise to me and you need to fulfill your promise. So welcome to heaven. From today, you're part of me and part of all of them. From today, you start walking with me and walking with all of them. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that's what I'm going to unite the whole humanity again. And then he said, okay, he put his hands around me and said, let's do a live review.
I just really became fascinated with the light and became just the joy and the love of God and just the peace of God just began to wash over me. And I just began to look at my arms, and it's not a light like you just turn on. I mean, this light had like particles. It was just like moving and just covering my arms and my body.
When I was enveloped with that bliss and joy, at first it was all just a bright, warm light. And then it started to settle down and take form. And it felt like I was in a cathedral, maybe with the marble walls and high ceiling or something, but it was still kind of misty looking. And I know that I had looked over to the right and I saw a good size, like an architect's table with a great big huge book, like a huge Bible or something, open about halfway. And I remember somebody telling me what was in that book. And I believe it was my life. And I was only halfway through.
Stairway to Heaven, 25 near-death experiences about our encounters with God, Jesus, and paradise. Journalistic research on real cases by A.J. Parr. On sale now on Amazon. Stairway to Heaven.
This has been the A.J. Parr Spiritual Journalist Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.